The philosophical scripture, the Discourses, is brought to you by not a prophet org, the place on the internet to find spiritual guidance powered by artificial intelligence. Chapter 8. Against those who hastily rush into the use of the philosophic dress. Never praise nor blame a man because of the things which are common, and do not ascribe to him any skill or want of skill, and thus you will be free from rashness and from malevolence. This man bathes very quickly. Does he then do wrong? Certainly not. But what does he do? He bathes very quickly. Are all things then done well? By no means. But the acts which proceed from right opinions are done well, and those which proceed from bad opinions are done ill. But do you, until you know the opinion from which a man does each thing, neither praise nor blame the act. But the opinion is not easily discovered from the external things. This man is a carpenter. Why? Because he uses an axe. What, then, is this to the matter? This man is a musician because he sings. And what does that signify? This man is a philosopher, because he wears a cloak and long hair. And what does a juggler wear? For this reason, if a man sees any philosopher acting indecently, immediately he says, "See what the philosopher is doing." But he ought, because of the man's indecent behavior, rather to say that he is not a philosopher. For if this is the preconceived notion of a philosopher and what he professes, to wear a cloak and long hair, men would say well. But if what he professes is this rather, to keep himself free from faults, why do we not rather, because he does not make good his professions, take from him the name of philosopher? For so we do in the case of all other arts. When a man sees another handling an axe badly, he does not say, "What is the use of the carpenter's art? See how badly carpenters do their work." But he says just the contrary, "This man is not carpenter, for he uses an axe badly." In the same way, if a man hears another singing badly, he does not say, "See how musicians sing," but rather, "This man is not a musician." But it is in the matter of philosophy only that people do this. When they see a man acting contrary to the profession of a philosopher, they do not take away his title, but they assume him to be a philosopher, and from his acts deriving the fact that he is behaving indecently, they conclude that there is no use in philosophy. What, then, is the reason of this? Because we attach value to the notion of a carpenter, and to that of a musician, and to the notion of other artisans in like manner, but not to that of a philosopher, and we judge from externals, only that it is a thing confused and ill-defined. And what other kind of art has a name from the dress and the hair, and has not theorems and a material and an end? What, then, is the material of the philosopher? Is it a cloak? No, but reason. What is his end? Is it to wear a cloak? No, but to possess the reason in a right state. Of what kind are his theorems? Are they those about the way in which the beard becomes great, or the hair long? No, but rather what Zeno says, to know the elements of reason, what kind of a thing each of them is, and how they are fitted to one another, and what things are consequent upon them. Will you not, then, see first if he does what he professes when he acts in an unbecoming manner, and then blame his study? But now, when you yourself are acting in a sober way, you say, in consequence of what he seems to you to be doing wrong, "Look at the philosopher," as if it were proper to call by the name of philosopher one who does these things, and further, "This is the conduct of a philosopher." But you do not say, "Look at the carpenter," when you know that a carpenter is an adulterer, or you see him to be a glutton, nor do you say, "See the musician." Thus, to a certain degree, even you perceive the profession of a philosopher, but you fall away from the notion, and you are confused through want of care. But even the philosophers themselves, as they are called, pursue the thing by beginning with things which are common to them and others, As soon as they have assumed a cloak and grown a beard, they say, I am a philosopher. But no man will say, I am a musician, if he has bought a plectrum and a lute, nor will he say, I am a smith, if he has put on a cap and apron. But the dress is fitted to the art, and they take their name from the art, and not from the dress. For this reason Euphrates used to say well, a long time I strove to be a philosopher without people knowing it, and this, he said, was useful to me, for first I knew that when I did anything well, I did not do it for the sake of the spectators, but for the sake of myself. I ate well for the sake of myself. I had my countenance well composed and my walk, all for myself and for God. Then, as I struggled alone, so I alone also was in danger. In no respect through me, if I did anything base or unbecoming, was philosophy endangered, nor did I injure the many by doing anything wrong as a philosopher. For this reason those who did not know my purpose used to wonder how it was that, while I conversed and lived altogether with all philosophers, I was not a philosopher myself. And what was the harm for me to be known to be a philosopher by my acts, and not by outward marks? See how I eat, how I drink, how I sleep, how I bear and forbear, how I cooperate, how I employ desire, how I employ aversion, how I maintain the relations, those which are natural or those which are acquired, how free from confusion, how free from hindrance. Judge of me from this, if you can. But if you are so deaf and blind that you cannot conceive even Hephaestus to be a good smith, unless you see the cap on his head, what is the harm in not being recognized by so foolish a judge? So Socrates was not known to be a philosopher by most persons, and they used to come to him and ask to be introduced to philosophers. Was he vexed then as we are, and did he say, and do you not think that I am a philosopher? No, but he would take them and introduce them, being satisfied with one thing, with being a philosopher, and being pleased also with not being thought to be a philosopher. He was not annoyed, for he thought of his own occupation. What is the work of an honorable and good man? To have many pupils? By no means. They will look to this matter who are earnest about it. But was it his business to examine carefully difficult theorems? Others will look after these matters also. In what, then, was he, and who was he, and whom did he wish to be? He was in that wherein there was hurt and advantage. If any man can damage me, he says, I am doing nothing. If I am waiting for another man to do me good, I am nothing. If I anguish for anything, and it does not happen, I am unfortunate. To such a contest he invited every man, and I do not think that he would have declined the contest with anyone. What do you suppose? Was it by proclaiming and saying, I am such a man? Far from it, but by being such a man. For further, this is the character of a fool and a boaster to say, I am free from passions and disturbance. Do not be ignorant, my friends, that while you are uneasy and disturbed about things of no value, I alone am free from all perturbation. So is it not enough for you to feel no pain, unless you make this proclamation, Come together all who are suffering gout, pains in the head, fever, ye who are lame, blind, and observe that I am sound from every ailment. This is empty and disagreeable to hear, unless like Aesculapius you are able to show immediately by what kind of treatment they also shall be immediately free from disease, and unless you show your own health as an example. For such is the cynic who is honored with the scepter and the diadem of Zeus, and says, that you may see, O men, that you seek happiness and tranquillity not where it is, but where it is not. Behold, I am sent to you by God as an example. I who have neither property nor house, nor wife nor children, nor even a bed, nor coat nor household utensil, and see how healthy I am, try me, and if you see that I am free from perturbations, hear the remedies and how I have been cured. This is both philanthropic and noble. But see whose work it is, the work of Zeus, or of him whom he may judge worthy of this service, that he may never exhibit anything to the many, by which he shall make of no effect his own testimony, whereby he gives testimony to virtue, and bears evidence against external things. His beauteous face pales his cheeks, he wipes a tear. And not this only, but he neither desires nor seeks anything, nor man, nor place, nor amusement, as children seek the vintage or holidays, always fortified by modesty, as others are fortified by walls, and doors, and doorkeepers. But now, being only moved to philosophy, as those who have a bad stomach are moved to some kinds of food which they soon loathe, straightway toward the scepter and to the royal power. They let the hair grow, they assume the cloak, they show the shoulder bare, they quarrel with those whom they meet, and if they see a man in a thick winter coat, they quarrel with him. Man, first exercise yourself in winter weather. See your movements, that they are not those of a man with a bad stomach, or those of a longing woman. First strive that it be not known what you are. Be a philosopher to yourself a short time. Fruit grows thus. The seed must be buried for some time, hid, grows slowly in order that it may come to perfection. But if it produces the ear before the jointed stem, it is imperfect, a produce of the garden of Adonis. Such a poor plant are you also. You have blossomed too soon. The cold weather will scorch you up. See what the husbandmen say about seeds when there is warm weather too early. They are afraid lest the seeds should be too luxuriant, and then a single frost should lay hold of them and show that they are too forward. Do you also consider, my man, you have shot out too soon, you have hurried toward a little fame before the proper season. You think that you are something, a fool among fools. You will be caught by the frost, and rather you have been frost, bitten in the root below, but your upper parts still blossom a little, and for this reason you think that you are still alive and flourishing. Allow us to ripen in the natural way. Why do you bear us? Why do you force us? We are not yet able to bear the air. Let the root grow, then acquire the first joint, then the second, and then the third. In this way, then, the fruit will naturally force itself out, even if I do not choose. For who that is pregnant, and I filled with such great principles, does not also perceive his own powers and move toward the corresponding acts? A bull is not ignorant of his own nature and his powers when a wild beast shows itself, nor does he wait for one to urge him on, nor a dog when he sees a wild animal. But if I have the powers of a good man, shall I wait for you to prepare me for my own acts? At present I have them not, believe me. Why then do you wish me to be withered up before the time, as you have been withered up? Chapter 9. To a person who had been changed to a character of shamelessness. When you see another man in the possession of power, set against this the fact that you have not the want of power. When you see another rich, see what you possess in place of riches. For if you possess nothing in place of them, you are miserable. But if you have not the want of riches, know that you possess more than this man possesses, and what is worth much more. Another man possesses a handsome woman. You have the satisfaction of not desiring a handsome wife. Do these things appear to you to he small? And how much would these persons give, these very men who are rich and in possession of power, and live with handsome women, to be able to despise riches and power, and these very women whom they love and enjoy? Do you not know, then, what is the thirst of a man who has a fever? He possesses that which is in no degree like the thirst of a man who is in health. For the man who is in health ceases to be thirsty after he has drunk, but the sick man, being pleased for a short time, has a nausea. He converts the drink into bile, vomits, is griped, and more thirsty. It is such a thing to have desire of riches and to possess riches, desire of power and to possess power, desire of a beautiful woman and to sleep with her. To this is added jealousy, fear of being deprived of the thing which you love, indecent words, indecent thoughts, unseemly acts. And what do I lose? You will say, my man, you were modest, and you are so no longer. Have you lost nothing? In place of Chrysippus and Zeno, you read Aristides and Evenus. Have you lost nothing? In place of Socrates and Diogenes, you admire him who is able to corrupt and seduce most women. You wish to appear handsome and try to make yourself so, though you are not. You like to display splendid clothes that you may attract women. And if you find any fine oil, yon imagine that you are happy. But formerly you did not think of any such thing, but only where there should be decent talk, a worthy man, and a generous conception. Therefore you slept like a man, walked forth like a man, wore a manly dress, and used to talk in a way becoming a good man. Then do you say to me, I have lost nothing? So do men lose nothing more than coin. Is not modesty lost? Is not decent behavior lost? Is it that he who has lost these things has sustained no loss? Perhaps you think that not one of these things is a loss. But there was a time when you reckoned this the only loss and damage, and you were anxious that no man should disturb you from these words and actions. Observe, you are disturbed from these good words and actions by nobody but by yourself. Fight with yourself, restore yourself to decency, to modesty, to liberty. If any man ever told you this about me, that a person forces me to be an adulterer, to wear such a dress as yours, to perfume myself with oils, would you not have gone and with your own hand have killed the man who thus calumniated me? Now will you not help yourself? And how much easier is this help? There is no need to kill any man, nor to put him in chains, nor to treat him with contumely, nor to enter the forum, but it is only necessary for you to speak to yourself, who will be the most easily persuaded, with whom no man has more power of persuasion than yourself. First of all, condemn what you are doing, and then, when you have condemned it, do not despair of yourself, and be not in the condition of those men of mean spirit, who, when they have once given in, surrender themselves completely, and are carried away as if by a torrent. But see what the trainers of boys do. Has the boy fallen? Rise. They say, wrestle again till you are made strong. Do you also do something of the same kind, for be well assured that nothing is more tractable than the human soul. You must exercise the will, and the thing is done, it is set right. As on the other hand, only fall nodding, and the thing is lost. For from within comes ruin, and from within comes help. Then what good do I gain? And what greater good do you seek than this? From a shameless man you will become a modest man. From a disorderly you will become an orderly man. From a faithless you will become a faithful man. From a man of unbridled habits, a sober man. If you seek anything more than this, go on doing what you are doing. Not even a God can now help you. Chapter 10. What things we ought to despise, and what things we ought to value. The difficulties of all men are about external things. Their helplessness is about externals. What shall I do? How will it be? How will it turn out? Will this happen? Will that? All these are the words of those who are turning themselves to things which are not within the power of the will. For who says, how shall I not assent to that which is false? How shall I not turn away from the truth? If a man be of such a good disposition as to be anxious about these things, I will remind him of this. Why are you anxious? The thing is in your own power, be assured. Do not be precipitate in assenting before you apply the natural rule. On the other side, if a man is anxious about desire, lest it fail in its purpose and miss its end, and with respect to the avoidance of things, lest he should fall into that which he would avoid, I will first kiss him, because he throws away the things about which others are in a flutter, and their fears, and employs his thoughts about his own affairs and his own condition. Then I shall say to him, if you do not choose to desire that which you will fall to obtain, nor to attempt to avoid that into which you will fall, desire nothing which belongs to others, nor try to avoid any of the things which are not in your power. If you do not observe this rule, you must of necessity fall in your desires and fall into that which you would avoid. What is the difficulty here? Where is there room for the words, how will it be, and how will it turn out, and will this happen or that? Now is not that which will happen independent of the will? Yes. And the nature of good and of evil, is it not in the things which are within the power of the will? Yes. Is it in your power, then, to treat according to nature everything which happens? Can any person hinder you? No man. No longer then say to me, how will it be? For however it may be, you will dispose of it well, and the result to you will be a fortunate one. What would Hercules have been if he had said, how shall a great lion not appear to me, or a great boar, or savage men? And what do you care for that? If a great boar appear, you will fight a greater fight. If bad men appear, you relieve the earth of the bad. Suppose, then, that I may lose my life in this way. You will die a good man, doing a noble act. For since we must certainly die, of necessity a man must be found doing something, either following the employment of a husbandman, or digging, or trading, or serving in a consulship, or suffering from indigestion or from diarrhea. What then do you wish to be doing when you are found by death? I, for my part, would wish to be found doing something which belongs to a man, beneficent, suitable to the general interest, noble. But if I cannot be found doing things so great, I would be found doing at least that which I cannot be hindered from doing, that which is permitted me to do, correcting myself, cultivating faculty which makes use of appearances, laboring at freedom from the effects, rendering to the relations of life their due. If I succeed so far, also touching on the third topic, safety in forming judgments about things. If death surprises me when I am busy about these things, it is enough for me if I can stretch out my hands to God and say, the means which I have received from thee, foreseeing thy administration, and following it, I have not neglected. I have not dishonored thee by my acts. See how I have used my perceptions. See how I have used my preconceptions. Have I ever blamed thee? Have I been discontented with anything that happens, or wished it to be otherwise? Have I wished to transgress the relations? That thou hast given me life, I thank thee for what thou hast given me. So long as I have used the things which are thine, I am content. Take them back and place them wherever thou mayest choose. For thine were all things, thou gavest them to me. Is it not enough to depart in this state of mind? And what life is better and more becoming than that of a man who is in this state of mind? And what end is more happy? But that this may be done, a man must receive no small things, nor are the things small which he must lose. You cannot both wish to be a consul and to have these things, and to be eager to have lands and these things also, and to be solicitous about slaves and about yourself. But if you wish for anything which belongs to another, that which is your own is lost. This is the nature of the thing. Nothing is given or had for nothing. And where is the wonder? If you wish to be a consul, you must keep awake, run about, kiss hands, waste yourself with exhaustion at other men's doors, say and do many things unworthy of a free man, send gifts to many daily, presents to some, and what is the thing that is got? 12 bundles of rods, to sit 3 or 4 times on the tribunal, to exhibit the games in the circus, and to give suppers in small baskets. Or, if you do not agree about this, let someone show me what there is besides these things. In order, then, to secure freedom from passions, tranquility, to sleep well when you do sleep, to be really awake when you are awake, to fear nothing, to be anxious about nothing, will you spend nothing and give no labor? But if anything belonging to you be lost while you are thus busied, or be wasted badly, or another obtains what you ought to have obtained, will you immediately be vexed at what has happened? Will you not take into the account on the other side what you receive and for what? How much for how much? Do you expect to have for nothing things so great? And how can you? One work has no community with another. You cannot have both external things after bestowing care on them and your own ruling faculty. But if you would have those, give up this. If you do not, you will have neither this nor that, while you are drawn in different ways to both. The oil will be spilled, the household vessels will perish, but I shall be free from passions. There will be a fire when I am not present, and the books will be destroyed, but I shall treat appearances according to nature. Well, but I shall have nothing to eat. If I am so unlucky, death is a harbor, and death is the harbor for all. This is the place of refuge, and for this reason not one of the things in life is difficult. As soon as you choose, you are out of the house, and are smoked no more. Why, then, are you anxious? Why do you lose your sleep? Why do you not straightway, after considering wherein your good is and your evil, say, both of them are in my power. Neither can any man deprive me of the good, nor involve me in the bad against my will. Why do I not throw myself down and snore, for all that I have is safe? As to the things which belong to others, he will look to them, who gets them, as they may be given by him who has the power. Who am I who wish to have them in this way or in that? Is a power off, selecting them given to me? Has any person made me the dispenser of them? Those things are enough for me over which I have power. I ought to manage them as well as I can, and all the rest, as the master of them may choose.